Hello from Myrtle Beach. Today we are going to show you what Myrtle Beach looks like during a nor'easter. Hi, I'm Carmen. If you're new here, we cover everything in Myrtle Beach and the surrounding area. If you're a return viewer, welcome back. We are so glad to have you with us. We've been getting a lot of requests to film what's going on right now. This storm has actually turned out to be much worse than they originally predicted. So we are currently in Surfside Beach. We're going to head towards Garden City Beach as far as we can get. And then we're also going to take you to Myrtle Beach's Ocean Boulevard and show you that as well. So right now we're coming up on the Surfside Pier. It is going to be to the left, and you're going to have a lot of restaurants and stuff on the right. We are seeing some blocked roads, meaning closed roads, and obviously a lot of water pooling on the roads. If you have not been following this on the news and haven't seen anything about it, the main areas that have been flooded have been Garden City Beach, which is the direction we're heading towards now, and also Cherry Grove, which is the northernmost part of North Myrtle Beach, which is a separate city from Myrtle Beach. North Myrtle Beach is obviously just to the north of Myrtle Beach, and Cherry Grove is the northernmost part of North Myrtle Beach. So as you're seeing, we've got the pooling on the road, the rain. Also, we've had a lot of lightning and thunder this morning, which again, they did not predict. They also predicted that this nor'easter would be gone by this morning originally. They said it was going to rain all day yesterday, and then this morning the sun would come out at some point. Now they're saying it is going to rain all day today. So if you're watching this when it comes out, this is on Sunday. So if you're watching it the day it comes out, that's the day I'm referring to. And we always get questions about time of day. This is a little before 10 a.m. that we're filming right now. And also the weather is a bit unseasonably cool because of this nor'easter, because with a nor'easter, the wind blows from the northeast. And so right now our temperature is about 64 degrees. If you're not familiar with Myrtle Beach weather, frequently this time of the year, it's still in the either high 70s or low 80s for this time of the year. And so this is unusually, that's a lot of water right there on the left, and other driveways flooded too. Wow, okay, that's a lot of water standing there. So if you're used to Myrtle Beach weather, or even if you're not, it's usually warmer than this. This is cooler, especially the highs for the day are much cooler. Yesterday we actually got quite a bit of wind. As you can see right now, the wind has calmed down. We're not getting as much of the high winds. Yesterday we were getting gusts of 30, so I mean not horribly bad, not dangerous, but just really breezy if you're out. So sideways rain is not the most fun rain, because then umbrellas don't even work. We went out, walked a little bit yesterday in the rain. We had rain gear on, and it was pretty breezy. So yeah, today looks better in that regard so far. The wind could pick up later today. They have done, I know they do the best they can, but they have not been able to predict this storm by watching the weather. Every time they say something, something else has happened. So I know I'm going to get the questions. Should I come? Should I still come down there? If you're staying in Garden City or you're staying in Cherry Grove, 100% call the rental place that you are staying. Make sure it is fine. Make sure it's good to go, because I've seen on the news yesterday in Garden City where they're like using one of those giant squeegees to push water. I actually linked that on, if you go to our YouTube community page on YouTube, I linked to that news article where you can see them squeegeeing water out of their store, and that was in Garden City. I just saw some lightning. I don't know if that'll show up on the video. So absolutely call your rental. Make sure they're fine. Make sure they're not experiencing flooding. Make sure you can get to it and the roads are not closed, because they have closed some roads in Garden City and in Cherry Grove. So just check all of those things. If you're staying in Myrtle Beach proper, it's still probably a good idea to check. But especially if you're in a high rise, it's probably fine. I would still check. If it was me, I would still check. But I think in Myrtle Beach proper, which we'll show you that too, don't worry, we'll go to Myrtle Beach proper. We just wanted to start down here because this has been in the news the most, this area, and you can see why. So now we're getting towards Garden City. We're outside of Surfside Beach now. You can actually tell by the quality of the road. Surfside paves their roads much nicer, much less bumpy, whereas Garden City does not. So you can really see this pooling water down. In fact, I don't know how much further we're going to go, because this is getting pretty deep, and I don't want to risk our car, plus this kind of, I don't want to drive that other side that Brian was talking about. I don't want to drive in that either. I know you can't hear him, but he was talking about that because it's so deep. It's not so much because we think we're going to stall out. It's not quite that level of deep. They would close the road. It's more, you don't want all this salty, sandy water thrown up under your car. It's not good for the car. In fact, I need to probably take my car to a car wash after this and get it washed. But yeah, the other side of the road coming, that's the northbound. We're in the southbound lane. That northbound lane is pretty flooded. So here you see a Garden City, the hotel to the left, and that's the Garden City Inn. Ooh, this is a lot of water. And we're also seeing a ton of water right there at Water's Edge. I guess the name's appropriate today. But yeah, this is a crazy amount of pooling water. We'll see if we can get up. There's a sign up here, so we may have to detour. We'll see if we can get up to Garden City Pier, but we may not be able to get that far today. We'll get as far as we can for you. I know a lot of you have been asking for this, so we want to try to show you what we safely can. So let's see. Rains may flood. Do not drive through flood water. I know these signs usually don't show up good. Caution. Yeah, that's all it's saying. Roads may flood and don't drive through flood water. And I know like further down towards the point in Garden City, that's where some of the roads have been closed except to emergency vehicles, that kind of thing. It's a lot of, I know it doesn't show up as good in the video, but over to my right, that's just solid water. Over to the right side of the road where it's low there. And that's another difference. Surfside has a little bit better drainage than Garden City. If you're not familiar, Surfside Beach is actually a city, whereas Garden City Beach, despite the name, is not a city. It's a, what they call it, a census designated area. Okay, this is getting really bad. I think it's time to turn around whenever we get the chance, whenever we safely can. Maybe up there at the light is the best place to turn, because these side roads don't really go to anywhere. If you're not familiar again with this area, there's only so many ways in and out. You can't just take any right and get out of here. But I know that light up there, if we can make it to it, it's going to be dicey. We will be able to get out of Garden City and head out. But there's only a couple of main roads out of Garden City, so that's something else to keep in mind. By the way, this is so bad because of the king tide. If a king tide had, which is a super high tide, had not happened at the same time as the storm, it would not have been anywhere near as bad, because Garden City sometimes floods, and so is Cherry Grove, just during a king tide with no rain. It happens. So here we are at the main road here in Garden City. There's the pier to the left, and then you see the Pavilion Arcade. A lot of times this road right here is shut down. I was afraid we might have to turn around, but I guess the tide is down right now because it looks like people are getting through. We'll see. But yeah, they end up closing this road quite a bit. There, to my right is a new parking lot, by the way, and in the summer they have food trucks and stuff there, so that's something to check out if you're interested. So this is the marsh. This is a nice area for fishing and crabbing and stuff. Right over to my left, where there's a pedestrian bridge. A lot of people fish off that bridge. And up ahead to the right is Sarah J's, which is a popular seafood restaurant. We have not eaten there. I think they're only open for dinner. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But we're going to cut off here and go up north to regular Myrtle Beach, and we'll check out what the roads look like there. We're now on Kings Highway, also known as 17, Highway 17. We are heading to Myrtle to film Ocean Boulevard, so we wanted to show you what the main roads look like as a contrast. We have gone through a little bit of standing water, but it's not pooling anywhere near like it was on those smaller roads. That road we were on was Ocean Boulevard when you're in Surfside, and then it changes to Waccamaw when you get to Garden City. That's the road we were on if you want to look it up on a map or anything. And now we're, like I said, we're on Kings Highway. So as you can see, not nearly as bad, better drainage. And the rain is still coming down hard, so the rain hasn't changed, but it definitely looks much better. Now we'll pop over to Ocean Boulevard and Myrtle Beach. All right, we're back to Myrtle Beach, so we're now headed onto Ocean Boulevard. And by the way, if you are here and you want some tips, or if you're coming in today, big tip is always park as high as you can. So maybe not on the very top deck, have some shelter for your car, but if you have a parking deck, park on higher ground. Just any way you can get to higher ground is always a good idea, not just during storms, but king tides as well. And also, if you're here now and you're looking for things to do, we have a video on what to do when it's cold and raining. Anytime you want to find anything on our channel, just go to Carmen and Brian on YouTube. You can just put in YouTube, search Carmen and Brian, and then put in whatever you're searching for. So like raining, cold, whatever, and it'll come up. And that we give you a bunch of ideas of what to do. And also this hotel straight ahead, as well as the restaurant right next to it. This is the Holiday Inn Vacation Club Oceanfront. My family has stayed there, and we have a video tour of that, as well as a 2-bedroom villa and tour. And also Damon's, we have eaten there and filmed that as well. So if you'd like to see a video on that, that's an oceanfront dining restaurant. We have that as well on the channel. Also, if you're finding this video helpful, definitely give it a thumbs up. That helps other people find our video, and we greatly appreciate it. Feel sorry for these people working outside in this weather. Yikes. Not a good day to have an outdoor job for sure. So if you're not familiar with Ocean Boulevard, this is the main strip here in Myrtle Beach where most of the high-rise hotels are. There are also condos. There's also rental houses, although those are pretty far and few between in the main strip here in Myrtle Beach. Tons of rental houses if you go inland or further down from where we are, meaning further north. We're headed northbound right now, just to let you know where we are. Ooh, there's some water coming out of a hose of some kind. That was weird. I don't know what was going on with that. I think they might be trying to drain water out of their parking deck, but I can't say for sure. Myrtle Beach is not as low-lying as Garden City and Cherry Grove. So if you're not familiar, Garden City goes out to a point and then dead ends, and so does Cherry Grove. They both go out to a point and dead end, and they have a marsh on one side and they have the ocean on the other side. So they're very prone to flooding. Myrtle is in the middle on slightly higher ground. Can it flood? Absolutely. But does it flood as often? Definitely not. This Residence Inn to the right here, we also have a video tour. Brian and I have personally stayed there twice. We have both the ocean view room video as well as the oceanfront room video of the Residence Inn there if you're interested. Those are both on our channel. We get a lot of questions about where to stay and recommendations. If you're not familiar with us, we live here. And so because of that, we don't see the inside of a lot of hotels. Hotels here, as you know, are pricey. And so we do have a few tours on our channel of multiple hotels, but we don't have a lot. It's usually when we have family staying here or something like that, that we're able to access a hotel and see what it looks like. And if you're not aware, a lot of hotels here will not allow locals to stay in them. It's a rule, and they're allowed to do that. They're allowed to restrict locals from staying. They're not all like that. Most of the major chains are fine. They don't have those restrictions, but some of the local hotels, I am not purely clear on the reason. I think it's to avoid people having big old parties and stuff. I think it has something to do with that, but honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the reason for the restriction is. Brian and I are past the throwing the big, crazy, wild party and trash in the hotel room stage. Actually, we were never in that stage, but we're not of that demographic, age-wise at this point, to be doing that. So you see, if you look over to the right, you can see some water pooling. But in the actual road where we're driving, you just have water running across the road, but it's not really pooling the way it was down in Surfside and especially Garden City. We are coming up to the lower, there's one low point. It's up near what they call Withers Swash. It's also up by Family Kingdom, if you're familiar with the amusement park. That is the lowest lying area on Ocean Boulevard. So we are still heading towards that. So we'll see if there's any water across the road once we get up to that point. When is your next trip to Myrtle Beach? Leave us a comment and let us know. If you're coming soon and you're wondering about the weather, they are predicting that this will leave us sometime tonight. But like I said before, they said it would be gone by this morning. So I don't think they really know for sure when it's going to go. So just keep that in mind. But the current forecast as of this morning, I watched the news just to be sure it hadn't changed, is that it will leave sometime tonight. They're not sure when, like during the night, and we should wake up tomorrow to better weather. So fingers crossed. We needed the rain. We had a drought for a bit of time. Now we have more than enough. It's time. It can move on. Sorry to those of you who are in its path, because you're in for some 2-3 days of consistent rain, unless it starts moving faster than it has been. So in case you're curious, because I was, what the difference is between a tropical storm versus a nor'easter, or I think they sometimes call them subtropical, but definitely a nor'easter. The wind has to be coming from the northeast, hence the name, and it has to form somewhere between Georgia and New Jersey and on the coast. And so that is what I saw is the definition, whereas a tropical storm comes up from the tropics, just like the name says. So that's the difference between the two. From our personal experiences, we have only lived through, that we know of, 2 nor'easters since we moved here. We've been here a few years now. And one was terrible. It dumped 8 inches of rain in like a couple of hours. It was crazy. There was a lot of flooding from that one. This one has been more the slow, constant rain, like where it's just a lot of rain, but it's spread out over a few days. So we are coming up to that lower, whereas tropical storms tend to be more violent. That was sort of what I was getting at least in our personal experience. Because I was actually surprised to hear the thunder and see the lightning this morning, because a lot of times with these nor'easters, we do not get that. But we are just about to go over Withers Swash that I mentioned. That goes under the road. And then right past Withers Swash, the road dips a little bit. So that was that sort of low-lying. And a lot of times Family Kingdom floods from Withers Swash. So I'm going to look over. I know you can't see it on the camera, but I'm going to look over and see if I see anything. I'll let you know. I have not heard of it flooding. It usually makes the news when it floods, so I think it's probably fine, but I'll take a look. Here's Withers Swash. We're going over it right now. It's pretty high, but it doesn't look like it's cresting. Nope. Family Kingdom looks fine. Withers Swash has not crested. So here's that low-lying area, and there is water in the road. Quite a bit of water. We're going to go around that. So that's that area I was talking about. Over to the right is the new parking lot. That's where the Splashes Water Park used to be. Now it is a dirt/gravel parking lot. I don't know if that's going to be the permanent, what do you want to call it? The permanent, what's going to stay there, or if they're going to build something there. I would guess, since as far as I know, Family Kingdom owners also own that land. They probably don't want any buildings there because it's going to block the amusement view of the ocean. So like when you're on some of the rides at Family Kingdom, you can see the ocean, like the Ferris wheel, the roller coaster. So I don't know if it's going to stay like that or not, but that's what it is now. And you do have to pay to park there. It was quite expensive. Wasn't it like $20, Ryan? I think it was. Yeah, I want to say it was like $20 during the summer. Here's some water in the road as well. And I know you can't see it as well on the roads because we're in a car and everything looks kind of flat. And it is mostly flat. Here's more water in the road. But we are heading slightly upward right now. The reason we know this is we bike this road a lot on our bikes. And when you're on a bicycle, you feel it. So I know where it goes down and I know where it goes up. You're more aware, because we don't have e-bikes. We have the manual sort of bikes. There's the 2nd Avenue Pier, the Wicked Tuna. And again, if you'd like to see one of those bike tours, we do have biking tours of Ocean Boulevard. Check that out on our channel. We've got several biking tours, and we've also got biking tours of Surfside and Garden City as well, if you're interested. Gives you a different view, a different way to look at it. Today is not a day for biking. There's where they demoed the resort that used to be. There's a really old resort over to the left. Can't remember the name of it right now. It's like not in my brain, but if you know, you can leave it in the comments below and other people can read the comments and see what you said. They've been doing a lot of, I don't know if that falls in that category. The city has been buying up a lot of really old, either abandoned or not well maintained properties or condemned, and demolishing them, and then the hope is to rebuild and put some cool stuff there. Yeah, it is. So over to the right, the parking lot is pretty flooded. It's like good few inches of standing water. Not this one by the hotel, but the one right before the hotel.
A lot of people waiting to get out of here.
Oh wow, that is a lot of people. Everybody's trying to leave because there's no reason to stay today. I mean, if you're heading out today, it's a Sunday. If you're heading out today, you might as well go. This isn't going to get any better. They're saying it's going to stay steady like this all day, so might as well go home. I would. Because once you go inland, you get out of this rain, so they don't have to drive in rain that long. This is literally just sitting and spinning right here on the coast and dumping a bunch of rain. So once they drive a little, they'll be out of this. Well, living here, just to give you a perspective, is interesting. The weather is a lot more volatile. So you need to think about that. I know some of you think of moving here or dream of moving here, and it's awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong, you live where people come to vacation. It's awesome. But you have to have a constitution for storms. You have to be able to accept that And that should be a consideration if you're thinking of oceanfront, because you're right on the front line, and you've seen all those. That's different. That's an Outer Bank, but I'm sure you've seen on the news all those houses in North Carolina on the coast falling into the ocean, and that's an Outer Bank, which we don't have here, but it can happen anywhere. They've been showing on the news, like I said, all these places that are flooded and at the extreme north and extreme south of this area, so it can happen anywhere. So that's a consideration if you're thinking of moving here. And also factor in, if you're thinking of moving, hurricane insurance. A lot of people don't realize that you need, and depending on where you live, you also need flood insurance. So you're not just paying a high price for regular house insurance, you're paying for hurricane insurance, and you're paying for flood insurance. Our insurance, I want to say, has tripled what it was before we moved here. So that's something to keep in mind when you move, because taxes are typically less here if you're a resident. Depends on where you're moving from, but the insurance may more than make up the difference. So this is sort of we just are going through the main concentration of entertainment and stuff in the Myrtle Beach Boardwalk is to our right. The Myrtle Beach Boardwalk is actually pretty long. It's 1.2 miles, goes up and down. But this is sort of the concentration where you see the Sky Wheel and all the Ripley's attractions and all that. There's Olympic Flame Pancake House coming up on the left there. No line outside today. Sometimes you see a line coming out. No one lined up outside today. Quite a few people inside there. Oh, and there's people on the porch, so I guess there are people outside. But that's a popular place. A lot of you said you liked it. As we pass the Boardwalk Hotel, this is coming up here, the next sort of low point. So we just wanted to check this out. This is the second low point on Ocean Boulevard in Myrtle Beach. And there's definitely a lot of pooling water. I mean, this is the deepest I've seen it on Ocean Boulevard. That was a lot of water, and we have all-wheel drive, by the way, so definitely be careful if you're coming to town today. Be very, very, very careful. If you'd like to learn more about Myrtle Beach and the surrounding area, be sure to click on the video on your screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.